Welcome back to Noble Warrior. My name is CK Lin. Our intention here is to empower you to make the best decisions possible as leaders, as entrepreneurs, especially during this uncertain time. Our guest today is Veronica Gutierrez. I invited Veronica to be on the show because Kambo is a very intense experience. I wanted her to share how she's using Kambo as a way to empower herself and her clients to have a healthier, happier, and stronger life. In addition, for those of you that are looking to corona-proof your mind, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader looking for more certainty during this uncertain time, go to cklin.com/certainty and have some powerful tools and techniques to empower you to have more certainty during this time. Without further ado, welcome Veronica. Welcome to Noble Warrior. I'm really excited today to have my friend Veronica Gutierrez here with us. Veronica is a dear friend, and she is a Kambo practitioner. Welcome to the show, Veronica.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you for inviting me.
So why don't we actually start off by sharing with us, what is Kambo?
Kambo is actually a secretion from the fellow Medusa bicolor frog that's in the Amazon in Peru.
Okay, so what is it? So in a time when a lot of people are searching for different ways for health and wellness, what about Kambo is a unique offering to the world of health and wellness?
Well, I guess I'll speak for myself. What Kambo has done for me, but Kambo and specifically is the secretion from the actual frog itself. And for me, it's just actually just changed my life completely to another level of all my practices, all my training. It helped me to really detox from a deep, like almost like to every organ. We carry all our emotions, but just really helping me to detox energetically and through purging and in many ways, through tears, through sweating, and helping me to shift to another way of being, bringing more clarity to my life.
What was your life before Kambo? Describe it for us so that way people can have a visceral understanding of what it did for you.
Okay, maybe I'll explain a little bit of the story that I shared earlier with you about my job.
Sure.
So I was in the corporate world for 16 years, and I realized I kept attracting, or I kept vibrating almost like not negative people, but people that were sick, very, very sick, toxic, and they're all my bosses. My last boss, he was an alcoholic for a very, very long time.
Physically ill.
Yeah, very, very ill. And he kept drinking, going to work. And even though I try to be as positive as I wanted to and share what I've learned, it was almost really hard to deliver anything. So energetically, his energy almost like made me energetically sick. So I gave my 3 months notice, and I thought, well, I heard about Kambo.
Energetically sick means you just don't feel good around.
Yeah, it's almost like you want to share something good, but regardless of how good you want to share it, it's just not good for them because of maybe what they're dealing with, they're suffering, and they just don't want to hear anything else, or they feel maybe there's nothing that can benefit them where they're at.
As in, like, you encounter resistance.
Yeah, some resistance. And so then I felt, well, I heard about Kambo and that it helps to clear energetically and just purify your body, mind, and spirit. So I went to a Kambo gathering, a ceremony, but I had already resigned 3 months at my job. And I went to the ceremony, and my actual intention was, since my father is no longer here and my father was an alcoholic, I almost felt like I was attracting my father in my life. Even though my father, he was a beautiful human being, but of course when you're under the influence of any negative like alcohol or any drug, you can become another person. And so I asked if I can clear that line through me, since I'm his child and I have all the cells and DNA, if I can purify that energy through my body. And she said, sure, why not? And so then after that, that was my intention. I felt I released very deeply everything that I needed to through tears, through purging. And when I was done, the next day I went to work, and my boss, after 44 years of working at this place, that was his life. And he comes up to me and he's like, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, about what? So let's go outside. So we went outside. And the beautiful thing is, like, he put his hands together and he just bowed down to me. And he's just like, and he's American. He doesn't know anything about spirituality. But I was like, what are you doing?
This is the first time ever he did that to you.
Yeah, or any kind of posture of like something good. Like, I'm like, what's going on here?
Uh-huh.
And then he just bowed and said, I just want to thank you for everything you've done. And I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. And I want to let you know that I resigned today. And in my heart, I was like, what? But at that moment, I could hear my father say, it's done. Like, I heard his voice say, it's done. But we're human, right? We have that, like, almost like little grain of doubt, like, is this really like what's happening right now? And to make it like really valid that this is what happened is like 2 hours later, my best friend's boyfriend texts me after me and her were best friends for many, many years, but going through his stuff, he didn't want us to be friends and kind of like separated our friendship. I honored that and I stepped back, and he texted me that day, 2 hours after my boss said that. And he's just like, I just want to thank you for everything that you've done. And I also want to apologize for what I've done to your friendship. And I thought, wow, this is big validation that on that level and on a spiritual level where my father's not here, that these things can happen and purify.
So two synchronicities happen immediately after your Kambo ceremony.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So it's not just from your personal experience. It's not just a physiological thing, a detox thing, but also there's a psycho-spiritual aspect of it as well.
Exactly, yes.
And then that's what made you a believer.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I chose, like, how can I deliver this profound Kambo to people, you know?
So did that happen that particular day? It was like a light switch got turned on?
Yeah.
This is something I want to devote my life to.
Yeah, and I was kind of already thinking about it when I heard about Kambo and I researched about it and saw what the benefits that it does. And then after that experience, I was like, this is good. This is really good.
So I've experienced Kambo as well. I've experienced it from you. Thank you. And on the outside, when I first heard about it, it has the reputation of, there's no way to mince the words here. It's quite violent. Right? The Kambo experience is very intense. So at first I was a little intimidated, even just by the verbal description of what a Kambo ceremony looks like. And then actually having gone through it myself, I was like, oh, this is really, I like it for its intensity that it brings me. Not so much the physiological aspect of it, but more so the psychological aspect of it. Personally, I like Spartan race, I like CrossFit, I like boxing, and I like to lean into my discomfort. I like to lean into my edge. So Kambo fits right into that archetype, definitely. Right? That warrior archetype.
Yes.
So I'm curious to know from your point of view, from your personal experience again, what does it actually do? So describe it for us so that way people can get a little bit of taste of why go through this very intense experience and what's the potential payoff. And again, speaking from your personal point of view.
That's a good question. I think the intensity of it is actually like any training that people do, like martial arts or yoga, any kind of CrossFit. When you go through an intense part of like let's say you're going to hold your arms like for 5 minutes like this, like for the first minute, it may be a little bit difficult. You start to feel your arm.
Don't touch me.
Oh, yeah. You start to feel your arm, your elbow, and you start to feel all these discomforts and pain. So at that point, your brain is registering, oh, I have pain right here. But if you didn't go through any discomfort, you wouldn't know what the next level of the second minute or the 5th minute or the 10th minute of holding a posture of any sort. It's almost like you're going through a certain, pain or level Or when you're lifting weights, oh, I can only do 10. Now I'm doing 200. There's this intensity of almost like a strength that is coming from within. Like, oh, now my muscles have grown and I can do a little bit more. But if it's almost like if you're just comfortable, like just in life, if you're just comfortable, then there's going to be no change. Everything's going to stay the same. But when you meet a discomfort that's most, like, how did you say, violently? That's a good way to...
Intensity.
I like violently.
Yeah.
That's a very good description. But it's almost like a very intense. And who wants to go through anything intense? But I think once we meet that and cross that, it's almost like a fear or an obstacle in our life. Like, you know what? I can only do this much, or I can only go this much. But if you go just a little bit more, you didn't know that you can go that much. So it's almost like once you go through that intensity, then what it feels like to feel, oh, I did it, or I feel much lighter. Oh, I didn't know I was carrying so much. And now, I feel great, amazing. And then you do it again, and it's intense again, but in a different way.
So pause on that for a moment.
Yeah.
So my friend, she said she helps pregnant women, to go through, to describe their their childbirth experience. So she said that some women would say that was a lot of pain, and some women would say that's a lot of physical sensations. You see the distinction here?
Yeah.
So they don't actually interpret that as pain. They just describe it as sensations.
Yeah.
So regarding combo, would you say, so number one, it's definitely intense. So is it for everyone, or is it just for people that seeking that intensity for the spiritual benefit?
Yeah. It's actually not for everybody. Some people may want to as much as their heart desires, but there's contraindications that we have to follow.
Right, so let's talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, so making sure that they're safe and that there's no protocol, like they have any heart issues or they've had any strokes or any kind of surgeries. So that's really important. That's why the communication with the client is very, they need to inform us what they're going through and what's their almost like their background of their ailments or anything that they've had. And once they share that, then I can determine if yes or no.
So is the contra indicators purely physical, or there are some psychological things?
Also psychological,
so
mental, like schizophrenia or things like that. Or
why is that? Because to me, combos, in my mind, it's not a psychedelic. It has nothing to do with the mind.
Yeah,
it's purely physical. So why the?
If you have a group of people and then some psychotic actions may come out, then you have to make sure how to take care of the person.
I see. Got it.
Yeah, and then just for the safety of others as well.
Got it. So let me interpret what you're saying here.
Yeah.
So even though it's physical, the physicality of it may trigger some psychological effect.
Yeah.
And for the sake of the container that you hold for the group as well as for the individual, you choose not to touch that part of it.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate way to
not
qualify?
Not that I not touch that part of it, but just that's why it's important to, if they did tell me, I would say I cannot serve at that point, just for the safety of others, because it does open up your nervous system and it may trigger some things in the brain that may activate it more aggressively, or things may come out. And my most important thing is the safety for others and the person himself. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, I get it. So a lot of people, when I was younger, I would think the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit, they're all separate. My body has nothing to do with my mind, has nothing to do with my emotions. And what is the spirit thing? It doesn't even exist. That was when I was younger.
Yeah.
But the older I get, the more I study, the more I practice, the more I embody all of it. Ultimately, I get it's superposition on top of each other. There is no separation of the body, the mind, the heart, and the spirit. It literally is. When you do something, it triggers everything else. There is it's not a linear. So there's a quote by Gandhi. It says, "Watch your thoughts becomes your words. Watch your words becomes your action. Watch your actions become." And ultimately, behaviors become habits become your destiny, right? But at the same time, so that implies a linear progression from thoughts to destiny. But in my mind, it actually is a circular thing. Your destiny also, it goes upwards too. So it's not a linear direction. It's a circular thing. It's superposition on top of each other. So I think that illustrates a really good point of what you talked about when you are being considerate of people with psychological conditions and serving them combo. Okay, so that's some qualifications that you take when you look at people who are seeking this. So what's the benefit?
What's benefit?
Yeah, so describe a little bit of, again, from your personal point of view, the benefits that you experience in more vivid detail, so that way people can get a taste of like, oh, okay, this may be for me. In addition to the peak experience, what kind of benefits could I get or that you've seen?
Yeah, it's good for like inflammation, people that have inflammation or like candida in their gut. Sometimes we carry a lot of bacteria in our gut, so it helps to purify the intestinal tract so everything can be released, and any like joint pains or, you know, aches and pains in the body, then it helps to kind of relieve some of those aches and pains.
So any other, in addition to the physiological aspect of it, any other, because you talked about detoxification, and that's actually something that I haven't quite explored personally, because I'm a pretty healthy person. And fortunately, that I don't really quite feel the benefits of detoxification per se. So talk a little bit more about that.
The detoxification can be on many levels. So our thoughts create emotion, and our emotion creates it's almost like a vibration that flows to our internal organs. We cannot see energy, but we can feel it. So when you have a certain thought, it triggers an emotion. These emotions are connected to almost every internal organ. So like, let's talk about the lungs. The lungs carry the emotion of sadness and grief. So I don't know if you probably experience a lot of like mucus. When you cry, there's water. So a lot of water related things, you get a lot of mucus because your lungs are connected to sadness and grief, because when you cry, it's almost like your chest is hurting. So energetically, we can hold these kind of vibrations or energy in our lungs, or it's almost like stagnant energy. So when you take Kambo, it helps to like detoxify these energy like centers in your body or your organs. That way you can purify and clear those areas. So it can be detoxing also like in our mind. For myself, and as an experiencing, it brings more clarity. So for me, if I have a foggy thinking, or I'm not clear, or my creative side cannot come out, when I do Kambo, I feel it almost detoxifies all that stagnant energy that I was carrying, that I couldn't break through. But when that is clear, then it's almost like the channel's, oh, okay, now it's more clear for me to paint or to deliver what I need to deliver. And also in our cells, I'm just helping to purify the body, but especially like the gut. We carry a lot of, this is our second chakra, and we carry a lot of like emotion here. So sometimes if you have like IBS or any bowel syndrome, it's because our gut is tightening up, everything's tightening up, and then the circulation cannot flow well. But through Kambo, it helps to almost relax everything so you can purify and detoxify your gut.
The way I see it, for me personally, energetic, spiritual, emotional, physical, as we talked about earlier, they're all on top of each other.
Exactly.
Right? So in my mind, this is the engineering term is forcing function. Essentially, think about a computer, this is a hard reset. You essentially just get everything out very violently, very intensely. And then whatever benefits you get, because now you have more space physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, perhaps, right? Again, it depends on your personal belief. That I won't debate with whoever is listening, but just imagine now essentially decluttering all of the things that's there through a very intense experience. And from that internal spaciousness that you have, then more things can come in. physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically.
Exactly.
Is that a good way to
Yeah,
recap?
it's almost kind of like a lot of people have heard of like shadows or the shadow work and all that. So when you release this, it's almost like our negative thoughts, our negative emotions. And when you let go of that, then there's opportunity for love to come in, joy to come in, happiness to come in. And it actually already resides within all of us. We just got to clear that stuff up.
So let's talk about joy and love and all that for a moment. You are someone that I know for a few years who embodies authenticity and compassion for others. So let's talk about, were you always this way? Or was there a journey that you took on to be the person that you are today?
Yeah. I wasn't always like this.
Okay.
I think it was until I was 16. I was a little rebel kid, you know.
Okay.
And it's funny because some people are like, "Oh, your parents," but it had nothing to do with my mom or dad. They were really good individuals. They were very loving and caring. My father was an alcoholic, and energetically, I did feel that did affect, because you learn from your parents. But I did become an alcoholic. I was very young. I think I was like maybe 14, go to junior high and drink in the bathroom. Just
by yourself?
By myself. I didn't need nobody to drink with. It became a thing that it's not like, it's almost like you teach someone something not knowingly, so you're just doing it. So someone's doing it. So especially a figure that you love, drinking's good. So then it almost became like something that I should do too. Yeah, and so then I would take bottles too. And it wasn't like beer. It was like straight liquor, like whiskey and things like that. And I would be really drunk in school. And then from there, of course, when you drink, you become another person. You become very violent. And
hold on one second. So were you in pain that this was a way to numb the pain?
Now knowing... At this point now, knowing of course, alcohol is a way to numb everything. So not knowing that I did have pain, I think that's why I was probably drinking also. And then also following the steps of what I see.
I see. So you had a role model doing this, and then you essentially just copied the role model.
Yeah, It's almost like you have this chain, and until you know what's right or, whatever, then you can break it, or you can either hold it on to the next generation. But I went to juvenile hall just because I became very violent. I would fight all the time, and I think that was me releasing my pain through anger. I think until eventually, when I was in juvenile hall, they had to lock me up in a boys unit, 30 days. I cannot interact with any human being. Because I was very destructive. I was very disruptive to everything. And so they couldn't even manage this individual that was actually in pain, but they saw, this person's dangerous kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, when I was in this isolation, my mom brought me a book. It was by Lester Levinston. I actually forgot the name of the book, but it was one of his first books. He owned he was the starter of Sedona Method. And and that's the only book that they let my mom pass through. Because any other spiritual book that she tried to pass through, they said that I could not have that book because they thought that I could become like someone that can overcome and escape or something. And I was like, thinking now, I'm like, really?
You're an evil genius.
Yeah, and then they were like, but they would let me have It books or Stephen King books, which can be very destructive books, very more negative.
Oh, for sure.
Than positive.
It amplifies the shadow. It amplifies your imagination of darkness. Of the human mind. It's really fascinating. Yeah.
They're very intelligent. How to keep people in jail.
Yeah.
So they let one book pass by, and that was it, by Lester Levinston.
So that was the awakening moment.
Yeah, that was because I did read the book, and at that point, I felt like something shifted, like my attitude shifted, something subsided inside my heart that I felt something different. And at that point, when I got out, I started taking LSD a lot.
So pause for a moment. Yeah. So after that awakening moment, did the anger, the fighting persist, or that stopped?
No, at that point when I left there, it kind of subsided. I didn't want to, let's fight, or it was more like something's changing. I knew it too because I started to dress differently and I felt like, oh, I guess I want to change or something, but I didn't know that. And then I think with acid, that was the main thing that really, really kind of shift me to another state of you don't always have to be angry. You don't always have to, you have to figure out why you're angry and things like that to know that happiness already resided inside of me.
Did you do that by yourself? Did you do that recreationally? Did you do that ceremonially with someone else?
I would do it by myself or with my friends. Not ceremonially because I was young. I was still 16, 17. Mm-hmm. And I was just sharing it with people. And I felt at that point that's where I found my true happiness.
And it just dawned upon you. And again, right, because the start of this part of the conversation is who you are today and who you were before. Mm-hmm. So was there a light switch moment where anger and violent, loving and compassionate? Or was it more of a gradual process?
It was a gradual process. It's almost like you're on one step and then, oh, okay, this is different. This feels good. Oh, and then let me try this step. Oh, this feels even better. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was very gradual, but it's almost like a awakening, but a very slow process, almost like a turtle just walking very slowly. Oh, this feels good. This feels better. Oh, and that's how, for me, the process was.
Mm. So one thing, again, a little diversion is that I do here. I love transformational work. I also love integration work. So a lot of people are seeking that silver bullet. My life was shit, and now silver bullet, life is awesome. Mm. They want that. That's what the human mind, the egoic mind wants. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, also, just like working out, just like good nutrition, in my mind, it's about the daily disciplines afterwards. Mm-hmm. Right, you can't just eat one good meal and say, ta-da, 50 pounds lighter. It just doesn't work that way, even though the egoic mind wants that. So I'm curious to know, from your point of view, were you intentional about cultivating this loving and compassion and this empathy, or is it accidental, just oh, this feels good, let me just continue to do that accidentally?
Yeah, not that it was accidentally. I think everything is a purpose, alignment with every human being's from God, our purpose of where we need to be at a certain point and to learn the lessons that we need to learn. So I feel like every step is just a step that I had to take to experience and to learn and to grow, and to a point where I did feel the love that already resided within myself. But it took time to uncover it through training, through different things. But the more that I got to feel my own love is when it's this is the most beautiful feeling that that I could ever feel, and to know that there's more and that there's more inside of me that I never got to look at or got to see. So I feel it's just a destiny of where I need to go, and I'm just now I'm being aware, these are the steps that I need to go to grow myself. And so
was it more of a self-exploration?
I didn't explore anything.
Okay, so it just literally, it feels good, let me continue it.
Yes.
It feels good, let me continue it. It feels good, let me continue it.
Yeah, I didn't explore I think I need to do this to get this kind of knowledge or this, or I need to do this. I need to read this book. I got that book, but I just read it because I had nothing else to do. But it felt good, and the yoga studio that I was telling you about. It wasn't I need to look for this place, and I heard yoga is amazing, and it just I was just my friends hey, I heard I went to this place and it was amazing. I felt this joy. I was just curious. She told me she cried, and I was
I see. So you let curiosity lead you to the next step, the next step, the next step.
Oh, what is that? Like, okay. Oh, okay. And then she was like, oh, this, it made me cry. I was like, what place do you go and cry? And I was like, this is weird, but interesting, So I was like, she's like, why don't you make an appointment? I was like, sure. So I made an appointment. And
pause on that for a moment. So you allow yourself to be open, to get curious, but you also made a judgment. This is weird. But you went anyway.
Weird to what she was saying, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you went anyway. So I'm curious to know, and maybe it's relevant to the listeners or not, but I think this is a natural way. The ego might always have evaluation, assessment, judgment about something, but you went anyway. What kept you open-minded and actually took action and followed through your curiosity in spite of the initial judgment? This is weird.
Yeah. And I think the term weird is more like, I never experienced this before. Like, I never heard this before. So this is out of what I normally know. I was a gang member. I was this and that. And then for someone saying I went to a yoga studio, like, what is that? Like, what is this? So for me, weird is like something out of my what I normally know.
I see.
So to make that a little more clear.
Yeah, for sure.
And so then I said, okay, I'll make an appointment because I really feel this person in particular was like almost like an angel. God brings angels to us. And I feel she was a particular angel because she was like telling me you should go there. Maybe she felt like I needed to go there. So I trust her and as a friend. So I said, sure, I'll go there. And I went, and right when I walked in, like, everybody in the center was Korean. And some of them didn't know English. And I was and it was so bright in there. Like, it looked like a
This is yoga?
This is a yoga studio. It was called Dawn Yoga.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And so I stepped in, and one of the masters that was there, she greeted me, she bowed, and, and she hugged me. And at first I was like, wait, this is out of the normal. Like, I don't know. I only hug my family kind of thing. But, it felt good, so I hugged her back.
So you trust. Okay. So I want to underline that. You follow your curiosity and you trust what feels good. Yeah. Subjectively from yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Like, this is very, very good. Like, oh, okay, you want to love? Like, I like this feeling. And so when she took me to the room for consultation, she asked me to lay down, and she placed her hand on my chest, and then she asked me one question. I feel this question, like, I was like, no one's ever asked me this question. It's like, what do you want out of life? And something just hit my heart, like, oh my God, I don't have the answer to that, and at that point I felt I couldn't resist, but all these tears came out, and I was like, where is this coming from? Like, why did this question rupture me inside, And yeah, I mean, I signed up for sure. And then so through that question, it kept me be more, I guess what you said, curious to, okay, what is this question, and how can I find this answer, And through that was another step that I took. So, yeah.
So you talked about she was an angel, your friend.
Yes.
And at a time where there's a million different voices, a lot of Facebook Lives happening right now during this time.
Yeah.
What would you say is your criteria of identifying that person is a potential angel, or that person I should pay more attention to?
Yeah. Well,
from your point of view.
Yeah, from my point of view, is the way I even tell her, I'm like, thank you so much, because out of all the people that I had friends or hanging out with, this in particular person asked me to go to this place that I would probably never go to, if I just walked by it or or read about it. She told me you should come, and I did go, and I actually ended up staying there. She left. It was maybe 5 months, and she left, but I stayed there, and through me staying there till 15, 16 years later, I knew that person was someone of almost like a messenger. We have many messengers in our life. But we have to really listen and know, okay, this is a message that I need to kind of come here. And for me, that was one of the biggest like persons that kind of, if she wouldn't have told me anything, then I probably wouldn't have taken that path. It's almost like a guide, like, hey, why don't you try this? Or
right. So my question was, how do you know who to listen to? I guess that's probably the easier way to articulate it. Because you deem her afterwards, 15 years later, say, oh wow, she was a beautiful messenger from God.
Yeah.
Right? But you didn't feel that way the moment she told you to go to the yoga studio, right?
Yeah.
But you knew to listen to her and follow through based on her
advice. It was a very
advice.
good friend, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, a million voices right now, a lot of noise, very little signal.
Yeah.
How do you find the signal?
It's almost like those synchronicities. Okay, so this one in particular person, I was taking a French class, so it's going to be a little connection to that. So I was taking a French class. I took this French class, and one of my sister-in-law, she's oh, what class are you taking? I'm taking a French class, and then she's like, oh, my friend's taking a French class, and I was like, oh, what's your friend's name? She told me her name, Liz. And I said, oh, okay, maybe I'll see her. I don't know, there's many French classes, right? There's like maybe 5 going on. Why would she be in my class, you know? So I go in there and everybody has to say their name in French, Je m'appelle Veronica or whatever. And this girl's like, Je m'appelle Liz. And I was like, that can't be her. And so at the end of the class, I went up to her, and because you had to greet each other. And I told her, Je m'appelle Veronique. And then she's like, Je m'appelle, Liz. And I was like, are you Julie's friend? My sister-in-law's friend? And she said, yeah. And she's like, are you Veronica? And I was like, yeah. She's like, oh my God, this is weird. Like, and then from that point on, we just like really clicked. But it was like a synchronicity. Like, how would you be in this class when there's so many other classes, and you're my friend's, my sister-in-law's friend, and you just want to take a French class? It's almost like people choose things almost like at a certain point, and like, I don't know if you've experienced like at a certain point in your life where someone comes into your life for some reason, and it's like a bond, and like a relationship and a closeness and a trust that you have with this person. And then sometimes they leave, and it's almost like there are these messengers that oh, okay, you came here to deliver this message. Many people can deliver many messages, and but there's some that really like kind of resonate in your heart. And you probably know what I'm talking about, like that feeling that you get from certain individuals that you just have that trust, and that whatever they're asking you or maybe delivering, that, oh, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah, I can relate, I would say, but for me, I'm kind of slow. I don't always know right away, this is a messenger I should pay attention to. Usually it's afterwards, like, oh. Yeah. My life was catalyzed after a long time. And then it would dawn on me, like, oh, okay, upon my reflection, these people really shifted my life in a particular way. Yeah. But in the moment, thinking back, I actually didn't think much of anything. So, for example... Yeah,
exactly.
So, Inting, let's use a concrete example. Inting is a very, very dear friend of mine. When I first met him, I was like, who's this guy? I didn't think much of it. Yeah. Again, some of my best friends are all like that. Like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Who's that guy? Didn't think much of it. But 20 years later, we're still friends today. Yeah. So... Same
thing with her. 40 years later, we're friends. You know? It's kind of like, even though you don't talk for a long time, and then when you do talk, it's almost like you just left off from where you were, and there's no like judgment. It's just like and you can have many, 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 many friends. I used to have so many friends, like a lot, either because I was doing something bad or something good or whatever, Yeah. But the more that you grow yourself, like spiritually, now I see it spiritually, is a lot of those people fade, and maybe they're still doing their thing, and that's cool. And then you can see who's still kind of like, hey, we're still friends, and then I can see it.
So on that note, there's an effort being made to stay connected.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an effort being made.
No, not like an effort. It's almost like just natural. Like, oh, someone, we call each other like maybe once a year.
But there's an effort.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It requires an effort to pick up the
that's
phone,
right? Yeah.
right? I don't mean an effort like let's stay together. There's a lot of importance there. That's not what I meant. What I meant is one of you reach out and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And the other one answer.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an effort to stay connected, right? That's one element. Another element that I hear also is the non-judgment aspect of it. Mm-hmm. You can be however you are. Mm-hmm. I can be however I am. Mm-hmm. We accept each other for who we are, and that's that. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever happens, hey, happy for you. I accept you for who you are.
Exactly.
And that's it. That's actually something that I notice in reflecting upon myself. I can be better at proactively reaching out to people. Mm-hmm. That's just something that I could be better.
Yeah.
But we're going away from my initial question of how you cultivated who you are as love and compassion and empathy. Mm-hmm. So you made a drastic shift over the years, and that's who you are today. You provide that space for others. Mm-hmm. Anything else you wanted to say for people that really want to provide a pristine space of compassion, empathy, and love for others? Anything else that they can act tactically practice to be more of that?
I think just keep following like what makes you happy, and I think the more that you follow that happiness and actually do it, 'cause sometimes we can be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and you don't do it, but the more you're taking action to what you need to do, that brings you happiness, you know. And sometimes it doesn't have to be with anybody. It's just doing it for yourself. And when you do it for yourself, then you get that natural joy. And I just feel the more that you follow your passions and continue to do that, you can just activate that self-love. And I think that's a lot that, you know, well, for me, that I feel I love to do is to put in my meditation or anything that can help me to look inward. The more that I look inward, it's like I don't need to like look outward into like you're doing your thing, so, you know, and then to see our mind when little judgments or, oh, this is different, or, you know, those kind of things, but to be just clear and just let everything be whatever it needs to be on the outside, but to make sure that you're looking constantly inside of yourself, your own thoughts, your own emotion. How are you feeling? How am I feeling, you know, right now? How can I change my vibration of this? If I'm sad, how can I make it better? How can I make myself better? Nobody can make me better. Nobody can change me but myself. And I think that's really important to constantly focus on oneself to grow and to just develop and open that heart, you know?
I also hear implicitly in between the lines of what you just said, not only just the cultivation, the meditation.
I think a really important point is the more that you cultivate yourself and, like they say, fill your cup up first before you can pour to another. It's like fill yourself up so much that you feel so good that it just like naturally pours out to others without judgment, without having to tell someone what to do, having to naturally just be there for someone and let that love come out, you know?
Right. So follow up on that point. Say someone listening to this, they want to do that.
Yeah.
What actions can they take to be more of that?
Of what point of that?
Well, what you just said, to fill your cup up first.
Oh, okay.
To fill yourself up so much that you're overflowing with love and compassion for others. So what practice can you take on to really fill up the cup?
Well, for me, I'll just kind of share my practice. In the morning, I do my morning meditation. Right when I wake up, I do my meditation. I have a chant from Mama, and, you know, just chanting that, going straight into my thought, like I need to get a cup of coffee, I need to take a shower, I have this plan. But straightly going into like, wow, I'm grateful I woke up. Like, thank you, God. You know, like just being grateful and in gratitude of everything. Like, oh, my body's moving. Okay, let's. And then it's starting that flow. And then once I get into meditation, just stretching the body and giving love to your body. Like I have my hands, you know, and stretching and breathing, whatever yoga, you know, that you may know, then utilize it and do it. And it doesn't take like an hour. You can do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you need to do. And then I use chanting and meditating and then breathing. And after that, then okay, I'm ready. Let's do this, And then at that point, that's when my creativity starts to kind of activate throughout, like what I'm going to do throughout the day. And then right before I go to bed, I do the same thing, giving thanks, like I was able to do all this, and I'm here, and breathing, and just to constantly be in gratitude. And when I do that, then I do my exercise and my breathing and my meditation and my chanting. And then I go to sleep. And when I do, I'm like, okay, that. It's just like this feeling of just, I'm happy, And I think the more that I give myself that, then it's just naturally just flows. It doesn't, there's no effort, I'm just being me. Like what other people do, good.
So let's talk about that for a moment. Given the COVID-19 happening right now, a lot of people are freaking out, panicking, in fear, and also in anticipation of whatever's to come. There's a lot of uncertainty here, is all I'm saying. So do you find yourself doing more of these, being more intentional about these practices, or it's the same, doesn't change? It's been such a habit already, so
I've been doing this forever. Well, not forever, until I found my point of this is what I need to do for myself. So I've been doing it for past 16 years. So it almost becomes like you need to make a cup of coffee. Well, I need to meditate. It's almost like it's a habit, but I know it's a good habit and it feels good. And it doesn't have to take long. It doesn't take a lot of our 24 hours of our day to do that. But
intentional about these practices.
No, it's just something that's naturally done. Right. Before I had to I got to do this. I got to write it down and I got to check it off that I did it. And the more that because at first I had to write down every day. I need to meditate. I need to do my training. I need to, and then I'd have to go back. Did I do it? Check it off. I did do it. Okay.
So there is a learning curve.
Yeah.
Right. So in the beginning you were intentional, but now you've done it so much that it becomes second nature to you.
Exactly.
You just wake up and do it.
Yeah.
And I want to underline here. I'm that guy, by the way, who likes to underline things.
That's good.
Hey, that was a good point.
Yeah.
Pause on that for a moment. I hear you say this phrase a lot. It felt good. So listeners, whatever makes you feel good, do more of that. But I want to make a distinction here because eating chocolate feels good. Eating ice cream feels good. Watching Netflix feels good. Waking up late feels good. Being lazy and laying in bed all day feels good, right? So what's the distinction from your point of view? I have my own vocabulary, but from your point of view, the distinction of doing your discipline that makes you feel good versus eating ice cream that makes you feel good.
Yeah, there is a big distinction.
So let's talk about that for a moment.
Okay, so it's more of a inner feeling good than a physical feeling good, because when you're feeding your body, it's a physical, and then it comes from your brain. Your brain is like, oh, all these like receptors are like, yeah, have some ice cream, eat this ice cream. And then you're like, okay. So there's like this other, being talking to you and telling you what to do. When at that point, there's a separation of who you are from this body, from your emotions and from your thought. We're a soul in this body. This is our temple. So when you listen to the inside of yourself, there's a difference of feeling better or feeling good than versus I'm going to eat a pizza that's making me feel good. It's not making you feel good. It's making your brain feel good, or making those receptors happy. Like, oh, this is great. But there's a difference there, and that's where the difference is. Separating yourself, which is your soul, your being, versus your body and your desires that make you feel good. So there's two.
Yeah, my friend has a really beautiful way to articulate it. Yeah. He says there's a distinction between deliciousness and nutritiousness. So things that makes you, like the ice cream, literally is delicious and at the same time is not necessarily nutritious. You can have all the ice cream you want. At some point, that deliciousness goes away and you become disgusted. Or there's only so much ice cream you can, your body just doesn't get the nutrition that it wants.
Yeah.
Or egoically, if it's delicious to show off to someone or be prideful or whatever may be the case for the individual, at the same time, it's not spiritually or emotionally very nutritious per se. Yeah, so I like that.
Yeah. I also like the part of it's like you're feeding your soul, you're feeding your body. You know, it's like there's a big difference. You know, but it's very hard to distinguish until you can cultivate that training and that knowing of the separation of who you are from everything else, your thoughts, your emotions, your body.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, we're not saying to never eat ice cream or chocolate.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it. Life is short, so enjoy the thing that you enjoy, but ultimately just be intentional about whether you're doing it for deliciousness or you're doing it for nutritiousness or somewhere in the middle.
Exactly.
Whatever it is that you're doing, so in that way you're intentional about it rather than just pushing the remote control, without even thinking about it and just numbing yourself up. Okay, good. Anything else you wanted to say in terms of cultivating this loving presence amidst the outside chaos?
Oh, at this point in time?
At this particular point in time, yeah. This is actually similar to Kambo, almost.
Oh, yeah.
It's very intense.
But very peaceful, too.
Okay, so say more about that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, this is going on. And the thing is, it's almost like Ramdas says, is be here now. Like, you can't, we cannot predict what's going to happen tomorrow. We cannot promise that we'll be here tomorrow. And who knows? There's car accidents every day. There's many different other types of deaths. So just to be present and to enjoy and be grateful and in gratitude for everything that you have at this moment in your life. You can plan, you can be creative, and there's so much more that we don't know about ourselves because we're so busy. I got to work 10 hours a day, come home to the home that you work so hard for, but you never get to spend time in it, Now you have this time to spend time and see what is the passion that you have that you always wanted to do or create, or there has to be something when you were a little kid that you wanted to learn, or something that you wanted to read, or things like that. This is like the perfect time for that, and not to be like in fear of like what's going to happen, or I understand there's many difficulties and struggles that people are having, but to just have prayers for them. We can only send something out like, I can wish them the best, but we cannot help every human being. But just to focus on yourself at this point. The more that you focus on yourself at this point, then together, I think in a collective, we can make a change, holding the vibration of love and gratitude,
And when you say pay attention to yourself, my interpretation of what you said is your own sphere of influence, right? Is that an accurate way to interpret
Pretty
what you
much,
said?
yeah. So we can see so much information that's going on, so many different ways and points of view of what is going to happen, what's really happening, to really just be in your heart and what you believe in, what you love, and what makes you happy, Why are you going to fall into like negative information or this is going to happen, and then bringing up some fear, and I'm so scared, and what am I going to do? And then you have all these thoughts that are being created. Just to be in the present moment, to be in love, and and to cultivate what you want to do, or create. It's a good time.
Yeah, so it's a good segue to this. Who you were before? You were in the game. Yes. You were in juvie, Paul, and now you're a full-time Kambo practitioner, dedicating your life to heal up people in general, right? So that's a big shift, I would say. So throughout this process, you met many teachers, many angels along the way to help you cultivate your skills to be a Kambo practitioner.
Yes.
Right? Who knows what's going to happen 10 years from now, but today you're a Kambo practitioner. So what are some of the criteria that you use today to select your teachers?
That's a good question. I think keep following the signs and what I feel in my heart, So from Lester Levinston, that book was it resonated a lot. And then when I met...
Did you ever take the Sedona method?
No, I didn't. My mom did.
I see. Interesting.
Yeah, that's why she gave me the book.
I see.
And then from that book to my teacher, Ilchi Lee, and to knowing that Lester Levinston was buried at this place that my teacher bought the land in Sedona, Arizona. And I knew that was a teacher because when I looked in his eyes, I didn't know this man. He came from Korea, didn't know any English. There was 300 people. He looked at every single human being in their eyes. I didn't know him, and I just started crying. And it was like, why am I crying? Like, what is this feeling that I have? So it was, and then at that moment, I knew this man is important in my life. Mm. And then coming forward to now being a Kama practitioner and knowing who's my next teacher, it's the same thing. Like when I saw Natasha for the first time, there was this feeling in my heart that I knew that this person is very important in my life. And then when she delivered everything she delivered with Kambo, I knew that this is the person I want to learn from. Seeing her sincerity, her kindness, and her love for others. I was like, this is really, sometimes it's when you feel it, but when you see it in someone else, it's so beautiful, And then that's where I asked her, I was like, how can I become a Kama practitioner? And she was like, well, I'm going to take my training. And then I thought, okay. And then, so that may take a while. And but she referred me to another combo training. And I was like, no, I'm going to wait for you to be done with your training because I want you to be my teacher. Mm. And that was the next point. And then I knew exactly when I was doing my training, I pulled off a book out of her shelf and I looked at the book and I was like, oh my God, how did you get this book? And, she got in Sedona Maga Retreat Center. I was like, do you know this man right here? And she's like, no. I'm like, that's my previous teacher. Mm. And I cried because I was like, wow, I almost felt like it was a sign, like I'm in the right place and I'm doing the right thing. Mm. And I was just so happy to kind of share that with her too, Mm. And then now that I'm a practitioner, I'm just trying to do my best. I'm actually doing my best that I can to be of service and to hold space, because it's not me that is making people better or whatever, or transforming their lives, but it's Kambo.
So how would you translate everything that you've done to someone who's in the in-between space right now during this coronavirus, everyone staying at home situation that we're all in right now? How would you translate that into something that's tactical that they can practice right now?
To do in their life and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They're in that in-between space. They're exploring what's next. Yeah. And they don't know. In this outside uncertainties, they are exploring what's next. What would you advise them to do?
Yeah, I feel that this time is a time of like looking in, like I've said, and to really see what moves you, what gives you passion to do something, or what have you always wanted to learn. Like, this is a good time to learn these things and to kind of cultivate and say, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I'm going to, my next step to take, or what have you been wanting to do, but you're like stuck or you're stopped from going there. Just do it. Do what you always wanted to do. And this is a time to kind of learn, whatever it is that you need to learn to go there. Mm-hmm. But to not give up, like saying like, oh, this is it, but to have faith that, that everything is possible in life,
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. The way I will also reinterpret everything that you said is you didn't say this, but in my mind is trust your body, like really get into the body, and then really listen to your body and listen to your heart of what actually resonates with you. Because from your own example, you trusted your body, you trusted your heart. So whenever it spoke to you, you will follow that path based on your words were energetic alignment or resonance. You felt that, so you trusted. So you choose your teacher And yeah, you chose your teachers accordingly. Is that accurate?
Pretty much, yeah.
Beautiful. For those people who are interested in receiving combo, is there any place that you can send them to?
Yeah, they can go to my Instagram page and my website's on there.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, passion.vg. Oh no, I'm sorry, I changed it to passion for health _for health.
Okay, we'll put that in the show notes for everyone. Anything else you want to say before we complete?
CK, I want to thank you for taking this time and setting this up. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
And all the beauty that you deliver to everybody, the words that you have and the wisdom. So I really truly appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I really acknowledge you for sharing your story and allow me to underline some of the things I thought was important.
I knew you would do that.
And then vulnerability, your story, I mean, what a transformation. The way that you are living your life with full trust and faith and love and compassion. And it's only the beginning of your journey as a healer. So I'm sure that your practice will continue to blossom and thrive because people can really feel your authenticity, your heart. And that's something that I admire you. Whenever I see your videos, whenever I see you in person, I just feel a very palpable presence of love and compassion for everyone. And that's something that I aim to embody more. So thank you for being here and sharing your story.